Hey, beloved. I wanted to take a few minutes and share with you this Christmas meditation. The past few years, I have been in Isaiah 9 every Christmas. I love this passage because it speaks of Jesus' birth, but it also prophetically speaks of the government of Jesus to come. And in the midst of it, it gives us some insight into the character of the man Christ Jesus and what kind of government he will establish on the earth. And so we get a glimpse of who God is in this passage. And I did a teaching, I think it was last Christmas, just kind of expounding on that, that Jesus is wonderful. And in the original language, that's it's wonderful, comma, and then counselor comes next, but it's not wonderful counselor in the original language. And what that means is he's full of wonder. He's a wonder-working God. He does miracles. And then comes counselor, which means that he understands the circumstances that we might be in, or the global circumstance, and he knows how to navigate through it perfectly. His leadership is perfect. And then mighty God, not only does he know what to do, he's got the power and all of the resources of heaven to back up his divine strategy. It's really amazing. I love the next one, everlasting Father. At the heart of it all, God is a father and he wants a family, right? He's a father and he wants a family. And so that speaks to his motivation. He's good. He's a good father, and he gives good gifts to his children. And then finally, Prince of Peace. And, Jesus, when he left, he said, "My peace I leave with you." So the same peace that Jesus enjoys with the Father, he gives to those of us who make him the Lord of our lives. And so I've been so blessed, as I've dug into this particular passage. But I wanted to really quickly share with you how this passage has ministered to me this past year, because this past year was very difficult. I've spoken about that in other videos. I've lost some really dear people this past year. My mentor, Paul, my good friend, Timra, our beloved staff member, co-worker, co-laborer in the ministry, Kelly. They all passed away this past year. And there was a period of about 7 months where, it was just funeral after funeral. Diane, a good friend, Diane Rasmussen, passed away. So it was just a lot of people dying and just difficult situations. And when we got the diagnosis for Kelly's cancer last April, we were praying for a miracle. We really wanted God to move. We wanted a supernatural healing, even though the diagnosis was very dire. We believe that God still heals people and that God still does miracles. And so we were looking for a wonder-working God. We didn't get the miracle that we prayed for. But as I was sitting the other day just meditating on this passage, I realized the miracle that I did get was that God supernaturally empowered my heart to navigate through this time of trial. He gave me the ability to carry my heart well through. It was really hard to lose people you love, but I was able to come out on the other side still in love with Jesus, and that's a miracle. That's a miracle. That's the grace of God. And not only did I come out on the other side still in love with Jesus, but I came out on the other side even more in love with Jesus. How does that happen? How do you go through really difficult things and come out on the other end more in love with God, especially when we didn't get what we asked for? And it was hard. It was painful. My love didn't grow cold. And that blows my mind, because the love of many is growing cold in this hour. And so I'm so grateful that Jesus worked that wonder in me and through me this past year. And as I was meditating on this passage, I just kind of looked at Jesus and I said, "You're still wonderful to me. You're still wonderful to me." And that is the miracle, the Christmas miracle that I got this year. He was a counselor. He showed me how to navigate through this difficult situation. He was the mighty God because there were times when my strength failed and he carried me through. He was the everlasting Father. How many times this past year did I need to fall into the everlasting arms? I love that description of the arms of God, the everlasting arms. We love that song, right? Leaning, leaning, leaning on the everlasting arms. That's the that sums it up right there in terms of how I really navigated. It was leaning, it was being carried. God was faithful, and he was the Prince of Peace. He was able to settle my heart, quiet me with his love, and really give me peace in a time when, it could have been very not peaceful, very anxiety producing. And in all of that, his leadership in my life increased. The passage goes on and says his government will know no end. Well, that happened in my internal world this past year as I experienced those different dimensions of the character of God. His leadership in my life increased because I wanted to say yes to him even more because he's so good. He's so profoundly good. His strategy was simple. He just revealed himself to me. He showed me the different parts of his character in specific situations that he would only be able to do, this side of heaven in the midst of trial, I think of Psalm 18, where King David says, "His gentleness has made me great." And I echo that 100%. It's the gentleness of God. If there's any greatness to Nate Oilo, it's only because of the grace and the gentleness, the tenderness of Jesus and his leadership over my life, which is why I love the leadership of Jesus. He's so good. He's so gentle. He's so tender. So this past year, Jesus gave me the gift of himself. Isn't that beautiful? Like, how humble is this God that he gives us himself, and not just as a babe, but as a man full of wisdom and power and love. And so my Christmas exhortation to you this year is remind each other of who God is and how he's working in your life. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to just give a personal testimony of who God is and how he's ministering to me. So I do that for the ones that you love. That's how we spur each other on and hasten the day of his coming. Well, I pray that you have a blessed Christmas. Jesus is the reason for the season, and he's so good. Go into Isaiah 9 and dig into it for yourself. It is so rich. Well, bless you, and more to come.